Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am in a different spot at my apartment complex in the shade. Why do I have the car off? Do I think I don't need AC? I need AC. Very hot. Imagine that. I am here to finally talk about why I do not want a dog. After Rocket moved out, everybody was telling me to get a dog, and at the time I couldn't even bring myself to talk about it because I was crying all the time over Rocket. I cried for 2 months. Every day, and my patrons and YouTube members who pay to listen to my twisted life on a more personal level, They knew I was crying. I mean, I didn't tell them every day, I'm crying again, I'm crying. But I mean, I would say to them, I cry every day for Rocket. I miss Rocket so much. And especially, I didn't know where he was and, if he was dead or alive. And I didn't know anything. So I was very, very sad. And I couldn't bring myself to let comments go through that mentioned Rocket. And I certainly didn't want to talk about why I don't want a dog. But yes, I've had dogs all my life. From the age 6 was my first dog that was mine, all up until, I don't know, it might have been 2 or 3 years before I moved here. And I moved here in 2021. So I went a couple years that I didn't have any dogs, and I said I will never have another dog, and I meant it, and I still mean it. A dog of my own. Here is the main reason. I suffer through the entire life of my dog or dogs. At the end, I had 3 at once, and then one after another. They were old, and I ended up having to have them put down. So it's bad enough that I suffer the loss of the dog, but I take it a step further. I suffer throughout the entire life of the dog and can cry every day or every night when I see them, and I know that they will most likely die before me unless something happens to me. And I mourn their loss through their entire life. And it's very, very painful. I can almost promise you, I don't know anybody who's like that, but I can almost promise you that there will be people in the comments that feel the same way. I just have to look at a dog and I'm very, very sad. And then when they die, I never forget it. I still can cry over my dog. I don't even want to say his name. My first dog, I had him from age 6 to 19. I never get over it. So, I didn't want any more dogs because it's too painful. Not just losing them, but having them. Having them is painful for me. And maybe in my drunk years, I was able to deal with that stuff in a way because I was, constantly self-medicated with alcohol. And then when I got sober, I really had a hard time, with a lot of things, including, suffering over the life of my dog, throughout the life of my dogs. And I know that has a lot to do with just empathy and things like that. So that's the main reason I said I would never have a dog. Now, Rocket came into my life unexpectedly and also lived with me for 8 months. But I was attached to him before he moved in. It was very sad the whole time that I was with him, because I was crying all the time knowing that sweet dog was going to either die while I'm alive. I would either be, there while he's being put to sleep, or he would just die somewhere in the apartment or wherever, or he would be gone from my life. And that's what ended up happening. And I was devastated. Death would have been better for me, because then I would have known where Rocket was. But he was out and about, and it was awful. And just imagining the horrors of, Joe just being in a diabetic coma somewhere, and Rocket just, finding his way to nowhere, just roaming the streets or whatever. So I had even gotten to the point where I wanted to start calling all different shelters and giving them a picture and saying, you know, if anybody ever brings this dog, please let me know, and stuff like that. But then it happened that Rocket popped back into my life. I've only seen him that one day that I had him. I had him that day, and I haven't yet again. That was just last week, right? So I'm good. I know he's safe. I hope he's always safe. You know what I'm saying? I worry a lot. Okay, so other reasons I don't want a dog. I don't travel anymore, but when I was, I would need to. I mean, I feel like I should go back to Maine at some point. I don't want to put a dog in a kennel or anything. I don't want to have them babysat anywhere. I don't want to be involved in that. I want to be free, even if it's just going overnight somewhere or whatever, a day trip, and I just don't want to always have to have a dog with me. So it stops that. You know, I do have Derek and Skylar, so let's say that all of a sudden, and Derek would share Rocket. He loves Rocket, and Skylar too. You know, so that wouldn't be as bad now because I'm not traveling as much, and I could, you know, have a dog in that sense that I'm not always traveling. So, and I, you know, would have Derek to help unless we all wanted to travel together, and then that becomes an issue because, again, doggy has to go somewhere. So it does tie you down a little bit. And then vet care. It's not even the money. It's that I always feel like it's a waste of money. You go in there, oh, like, here, take this or try this and do this and do that. I took Rocket to a vet while they were living here, and I've never been to a vet that does business this way. I go in, they take the info, I have to fill out all the paperwork. Then somebody brings me in, not the vet, but let's just call it a vet aide or a nurse, I don't know. Asked me what's the problem, itchy skin, we're going through all kinds of stuff, and then she's like marking all kinds of things down, and I was presented with this, and she said, these are the things that we test for itchy skin, and there's a whole fucking slew of things, and it came up to like $245. I know it was over $200. And I had to sign to agree to pay that bill before they ever looked at Rocket. I had Rocket with me. I mean, there in the chair when she's explaining all this stuff. But she was just there to hear what the complaint was. Hang on. The phone is in my purse, and I don't want to mess up my setup because my camera's on my purse. That person might call back. Anyway, I needed to agree to that amount of money, and like I said, that person wasn't checking out Rocket. She was just going through the list of, like, if this is the complaint, these are the things we do. Never heard of any such thing like that. Sometimes a vet can just come in and look and say, by doing an eyeball test and seeing it, oh, this is this, most likely this. You have to test all kinds of things. Look at the dog first and then say to me, these are the things I suspect. It could be this or this, so I'd like to do these two tests. Isn't that the way it always went? I walked out. I told them I'm not agreeing to pay something up front. Oh, and then she had included something that was $60 that wasn't even anything to do with the symptoms and stuff. It was some other thing, and I said, you're just throwing that in without explaining it to me? She goes, oh, no, that's all right. She goes, I can take it out. I'm like, but you wanted me to sign something without even explaining to me that thing, that $60 thing, wasn't even necessary. I was so mad. Anyway, those are the things. Going to a vet, I'll pay the bill. I don't want to pay a fucking bill that I don't need to be paying, and having to go through stuff like that. You guys know I don't do well with those kinds of things, you know, that bullshit. And then, but there is an expense, but I'm not going to complain about an expense at this point. I would certainly pay whatever it takes to have my dog well taken care of and to feed a dog. So it's the crying all the time when I have a dog. That's the part I don't like. And then it does sometimes stop people from traveling, and then the expense. But again, let's take the expense out of the picture. And the traveling, I don't think would be much of an issue, but the crying still would be, because I cried all the time when Rocket was living with me. I just couldn't even look at that little face. And I would sometimes take pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, I took a picture of him like looking sweet on the bed, and I try so hard to get past those things. And then I see those pictures, and it fucking breaks me. It fucking breaks me. I don't know why I have to be like that. And it's just something so innocent about a dog. And I just, oh my God. And then when they were gone, every day, well, during the week, if I had packages, I would always say, Rocket, you want to go bye-bye? I would like go to the bathroom, and while I'm there, I'm like, Rocket, you want to go bye-bye? And he would come running in the bathroom, and he knew. I'm like, we're going to go to the post office, and he would always come with me. And that killed me. That killed me that I didn't have him there, and I would still sometimes say it just to, I don't know, do I want to punish myself or something and just be bawling my eyes out? I cry a lot. I really do. You know, and again, my exclusive shoppers that, well, they don't have to be a shopper to be in to hear that, but it's, yeah, I guess you do, because I think the lowest level I have now is $5. Here I am all of a sudden. I used to have lower levels in Patreon, but, you know, now I think the lowest level is $5, and that does let you shop, but it also lets you hear me talk about how I cry a lot. It doesn't mean all day, and sometimes I feel better after, but there's things that hit me all the time that make me sad, make me cry, and I just tell myself, that's the person I am. The empathy is deep with me, and I can cry over just anything, things that people would never cry over. Okay? I feel like going in the house and crying now. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not getting a dog of my own. Please, never. I would be better off like if I lived someplace and there was a lot of dogs, and just running around, and like I'm in an old folks home and they have dogs and they care for the dogs, and we can pet the dogs if we want, but they're not my dog. I don't know. Maybe I could handle that, or maybe I'd be just fucking crying myself to death. I don't know. There'd be so many dogs to cry over, right? Okay, I gotta stop talking about this. So yeah, ain't getting a dog. All right, I'm gonna go now because I gotta answer the phone. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.